DJ Hardy, game over. Northside calls it.
Live from Orlando, Florida, you're listening to The Sports Scene with Jesse O.
Drop the chicken and call me Andrew. Yep, it's me, Jesse O. Welcome everyone to The Sports Scene on iHeartRadio Podcasts, and YouTube, presented by First Bet and Sports Fluent Media. We've got a great show for you. Our special guest is the main NHL analyst for our Sports Fluent family and a host of his own podcast called Leafs Lounge, live from Toronto, Canada. Josh Lieberman joins the show in about 15 minutes. Who better to talk to about the sport of hockey than a Torontoan? Something like that. Anyways, but first, please welcome back our dynamic duo of the mouse and the elephant. And by that, you know I'm talking about my favorite color analyst, Mr. Alvin Delvey. And you know who else is here this week? The resident couch correspondent, Max Ronquillo, is back on his throne. That's right, he's back on that couch and ready to upset Alvin. All right, everyone, so glad to have you both with me. And before we get into our top 5 sports stories for the week, you know I have one question for you. For some reason, I always think that Max is going to get this right, so I'm going to make him go second again. Alvin, the question for you is, from which language did the word ketchup come from? This one I actually couldn't believe.
Ketchup. Oh, it's German.
Great guess. Incorrect. Maxwell.
I don't know. Greek.
Max. I thought you would get it. What? Okay.
Oh, was it Spanish?
No. It was Chinese.
Oh, that was actually, I was going to say that. I was going to say that, but there's no way the Chinese have tomatoes, bro. And they do ketchup.
Literally, where the word ketchup came from is Chinese.
Wow.
The more you know. That one was crazy. When I saw that one, I was like, okay, Max better.
I've never ordered like Panda Express ever in my life, and there's been a tomato in my food.
Anything.
You know what I mean?
Really?
That's what I'm saying.
True.
So, yeah, when are they just having tomatoes out here? This sounds like a CCP conspiracy, not going to lie.
Okay.
There's never been a tomato Kung Pao chicken, bro. When have you ordered tomato Kung Pao chicken, bro? That's never happened.
Okay.
Oh, man.
I'm just saying, they can't grow tomatoes out there. How do they just come up with the word ketchup?
Okay, Max. Maybe they used it for something else. Maybe it wasn't for tomatoes.
Well, maybe it was Chinese Americans who were building the railroad. I don't know, but just trying to give some listeners some truth here.
Okay, wow. Well, Max is going to be dropping all those truths throughout the course of this episode. Here we go. Top 5 sports stories on the board. We're going to start with number 5, some WNBA news out there. The first one being that Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier's new professional women's 3-on-3 basketball league, Unrivaled, will debut in January of 2025 in South Florida, offering the highest salaries in women's professional sports history, equating the league for the players and attracting top players with superstar signings expected. The league aims to change how women's sports are viewed with a focus on player investment and a faster-paced game played over 8 weeks in the WNBA offseason. So something a little interesting there to focus on. But hey, Alvin, something really big that everyone's been talking about in the WNBA is that foul that we saw Chicago guard Kennedy Carter do against Caitlin Clark. So the WNBA on Sunday upgraded Chicago Sky guards Kennedy Carter's foul against Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark to a flagrant 1 violation. After reviewing the play, Carter gave a shoulder shot to Clark that knocked her to the floor before an inbound pass during the third quarter of Saturday's 71-70 win by the Fever. The officials called it an away from the ball foul and didn't review the play. It was deemed a common foul at the time. So, what did you make of this situation when it happened?
I genuinely think it's a flagrant foul. And because it's a flagrant foul, there's a name for it. It's nothing unprecedented. It's nothing that we haven't seen before. You're a Warriors fan. You've seen Draymond do some crazy stuff. I think it's not part of the game as far as it being something that's necessary to win. However, it's something that we see happen time and time again. With Caitlin Clark, I think there's a misconception as far as people think she's a damsel in distress for some odd reason. If you turn on the tape and you watch Caitlin Clark, just watch how she's moving off the ball. She's hitting people with elbows. She's playing to win. She's aggressive. She's nasty. She's fighting. She's doing what she needs to do to get open, whether it's elbowing someone in the face 3 times in a row before that hard screen gets set, or if it's her pushing off, basketball. Like it's a contact sport. It's competitive. People are getting after it. People are fighting. I think it's a non-story in the sense that she's a good player. She's number one pick. She is garnering a lot of attention. She has done so in college. She didn't win a national championship, but she was there for multiple years. So I think her competitive nature is going to garner attention from the league, from the W. They're going to do their best to make sure she doesn't go off and that she's not doing what she's done in college. She's going to be on scouting reports. So people are going to play her physical. And if you're playing against anyone, whether it's in the rec park, whether it's in the league, whether it's wherever you're playing, if you're playing someone and they're physical with you, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be physical back. So I think it's just two people getting after it. Was it unintentional? Was it unnecessary? Yes, that's why I got a flagrant one. But I don't think it's something that was malicious in the sense of, oh, we want to injure Caitlin Clark and not let her make her bread. I think it's more so in the sense that everyone's fighting for the number one spot, and that fight looks a little nasty sometimes. I love it.
Yeah. My problem with it is that I think the Indiana Fever, like Caitlin Clark's team, needs to have an enforcer. That's what a number one pick always has on their team, right? When Candace Parker came into the league, she literally had Lisa Leslie there, who was ready to deck anybody that came after Candace. And Candace got into a couple fights in her first couple of weeks in the league. And now here is Caitlin Clark, and you see Aaliyah Boston, who's going to inbound that ball. Clark gets knocked to the ground, and instead of, getting in maybe Kennedy Carter's face, Aaliyah Boston walks over to pick up Caitlin Clark. Good teammate, but also at the same time, you need an enforcer. I also have to, I've been catching a lot of smoke for this on social media and then also on YouTube, but I publicly owe Kate Martin an apology. I was not that familiar with your game. Kate Martin, who played for the Iowa Hawkeyes with Caitlin Clark, I said, no one on this Iowa team is going to get drafted. Kate Martin gets drafted. She's earning minutes with the Las Vegas Aces. She can shoot the heck out of the rock from 3. She plays good defense, and she's getting blocks on girls that are 7 inches taller than her. Kate Martin, I was unfamiliar with your game. I was familiar, but I was very unfamiliar with your game. I apologize. You're a dog. Now that you're in the league, you got drafted. You're a dog. I'm rooting for you. Okay, anyways, let's get into our number 4 sports story. Some UFC 302 for you, Max. Okay, so the main event, right? Islam Makhachev defeats Dustin Poirier by submission at 242 of round 5. There was also that co-main event between Sean Strickland, who defeated Paulo Costa by split decision. What should we know about UFC 302?
Yeah, the great thing about just the UFC event in general is that, if you're a man or anyone in this country, right? Or any country, right? That's a great thing. You can see great fights, and you can literally just sit on the couch all day and do nothing, and be happy with yourself because they put on a great event. It's a great time, and if you don't have anything planned that day, you can marinate and watch people go to war, and it's pretty impressive that Dana White has been able to do this, and especially with the fights that we saw. Holland with that first round breaking of someone's arm. The guy looked so unserious when he walked into the ring, and this Russian guy or wherever I think Polish comes in, and he has him nailed to the ground, and he's like, "I'm gonna do it. Holland was telling him, I'm gonna do it," and then bang, just snaps his arm in half. Right? That guy's not gonna be that fight. That guy was maybe fighting for maybe $50,000. Right, spending around $25,000 for training, so he's going to make $25,000 profit before even spending it on his coaches. But now he loses the fight, breaks his arm, and he's not going to be able to fight for like maybe 6 months to a year. I don't know. I'm not a doctor here, but it was the most brutal thing that I've seen in some time. So that was a fight to watch for sure. Dustin Poirier, obviously, this was it seems to be his final fight ever. And he almost won against a person who's won 13 or like 12 or 13 in a row. Islam is obviously trained by Khabib. 14 now. His coach is Khabib, who's probably the most decorated number 1 UFC fighter. So it looked like he was walking into a guillotine situation. However, he put up his own, was able to stay in for 5 rounds, and unfortunately, got submitted. Was an absolute great fight. And then there was Sean Strickland, repping USA, repping Donald Trump, just putting on the whole marketing class, which the UFC really did their best to make, Paulo Costa, blue corner, Sean Strickland, red corner with Donald Trump in the background. Right, the theatrics are really there for Dana White. He's doing every little thing to market it as best as possible, but that fight was terrible. I really thought Paulo Costa was gonna absolutely rail this guy. I was so hyped up. I was shaking my seat. I don't think I've ever been so excited before a fight. Like, just not knowing who this guy was. I was like, holy crap, this guy is gonna take him down. And it was like two pussycats fighting in the ring. Sean Strickland was kicking his leg up, not really doing any damage. People were booing. No one cared. And he's the number one fighter, and Paulo Costa was 7. So we're hoping for better things from Sean Strickland for the next fight. He's gonna get his title chance now. And what do we have next? We got Conor McGregor with UFC 300 against Chandler. So big fights. We also saw Deontay Wilder lose this weekend. Unfortunately, once again, Alvin just took up all my time, so I can't really discuss what happened there. But hey, fighting game's big. We're at 12:48, baby. 12:48, baby. I'm professional. But hey, fighting game's looking great. UFC is looking just better and better ever since 300, and I'm excited to see what happens at 303.
Max, real quick. What is it? Mike Tyson and Jake Paul got canceled. What were your thoughts on that?
Dude, I don't know. Someone's trolling. I don't know who's trolling, but someone is trolling. Mike Tyson. The one thing I want to talk about that fight was the running video. The video where they recorded Mike Tyson running on the treadmill. That was the most horrendous thing I've ever seen. There's no way that was real. Because it looked like a word that's coming back into this lexicon, but I'm not going to say it for live television, but it starts with an R, ends with an Arted, but he was looking like that. He was looking like Mike Tyson was looking like that. And then, there's the whole plane fiasco, spinal. I don't know the whole truth that's out there right now, but someone is trolling. Someone's trolling, and so that's what I gotta say. I knew from the beginning it was a troll. Someone's trolling still, and they might postpone it. They might make it happen. Logan Paul might step in. KSI is now back into the mix of things again. Someone's trolling. Jake Paul's career is dying in real time, and I'm kind of here for it. Unless he actually picks a good fight and he actually wins. I either want to see him just his career's done or he becomes a champion. Just either or. Just stop being a wuss about it and just make things happen already.
All right, Max is on a heater this episode, Alvin. I'm loving this. All right, let's get into our number 3 sports story. Real quick, some college sports stuff for you, Alvin. In a historic agreement, the NCAA and major conferences will allow schools to directly pay college athletes. This follows lawsuits claiming athletes deserve a share of the billions generated by college sports. A $2.7 billion settlement will be paid to athletes, and schools can now share up to $20 million per year with their athletes. However, legal issues remain, such as athlete status, employee versus student, and control of endorsement deals. This is a major shift, though, for college sports, but its long-term impact is still a little bit uncertain.
I think that last part is what we really need to hone in on. Obviously, the long-term impact is something that is TBD, to be determined, because there's so much money being made. And in America, if there's money being made, the people who's working for it typically get some form of it. However, that's not the case with the NCAA. And now they're trying to rectify it. It's going to be a while until you figure out a way to hand out and dish out $2.7 billion properly, especially if the last 50 years it's been just everyone at the top getting all the money and everything's been good, and everyone who else has been getting money has been under the table. So I think trying to allow everything to flesh out is going to be a process over maybe 5 years before it's to a point where we're like, okay, this is acceptable. All parties are reasonably satisfied, and then we could just make minor tweaks and adjustments. Right now, we're just making complete changes, overhauls, year in, year out, and until something sticks, it's probably going to look just like that. However, I do think we're trending in the right direction. NIL, obviously, with that influx of money coming from boosters, not necessarily regulated by the university in and of itself. I can't remember off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly who it was from Florida, but he had an NIL of upwards of $10 million, and he wasn't able to actually he didn't play at the school, so he sued the school. There's like situations like that. Since it's coming from the school, you can do a lot better job of just understanding how to write the contracts and make it so that way it's relatively seamless. But again, there's going to be issues that come up, and we won't know them until they actually arise. So I think we're going to be playing defense if you're a college football fan, college sports fan in general, be playing defense for a while until we figure out how to get the money to make sense.
Our number 2 sports story, the MLB stuff for you, Max. So, real quick, the New York Mets reliever Jorge Lopez was released by the team after throwing his glove into the stands following an ejection during a game and in the post-game press conference. Obviously, there's a little bit of a language barrier, which I think people need to realize, but it sounded like he was saying he was playing for the worst effing team in all of Major League Baseball, which is kind of true. And then the MLB permanently banned Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano for betting on baseball, including his own team's games, while he was injured. He's the first active player banned for life since 1924. What do you think about these stories?
Yeah, so I think I think everyone needs to relax, first of all. Everyone in the sport. Alvin, relax your mouth right now. Just let me speak. let me speak.
Red flag, where is it?
Dude, listen, I'm not going to go into details, but Alvin was telling me some crazy thing earlier about some tanning situation, but we'll keep it light for now. We'll keep it light for now. But I think people need to re-understand the fact that baseball is just a game of class, right? It's always been a gentleman's game. People used to go in like tuxedos to the ballpark back in the day. You said 1924. You know, people were definitely rocking some suits and tuxes to go to the game. And whatever this guy said, like he's the worst effing teammate or I'm playing for the worst effing teammate, threw his glove into the stands, right? Like he got ejected from the game, threw his glove in the stands. And you deserve to be punished. And honestly, you're acting like a child. So you deserve to be designated for a free agent. Like, you know, you're a reliever. There's thousands of you everywhere who can throw 95. I can pick someone up for cheaper and who's not going to throw his glove. And so, you know, there's not really much to say about that. It was a lapse of judgment. I'm sure he has a better character than that. But listen, mate, coming from the guy who's wearing the suit, you got to act like a professional, and especially in a game like this. Now, with the Padres infielder, people are saying that, oh, this could be a wake-up call, but this is not really a wake-up call. This has happened before many of times, and unfortunately, I don't know if this is a front to, like, you know, someone is scapegoating Shohei Ohtani. Listen, we've talked about this many times.
Oh, wow.
Well, because, like, hey, why are all these people getting thrown in the bus? And Shohei Ohtani was literally probably betting more money and was involved, right? And he gets his release or his statement just happened today, where the translator is fully guilty and Shohei Ohtani had zero things to do with it. I mean, that smells like BS to me, and it just seems like they're trying to just clamp down on something to give the audience and the people who love baseball like something to stare at and point fingers at. I don't know, but all of this is just super suspicious to me. I make sense. This is not a game to gamble on. You should never gamble on sports if you're playing that sport because, again, have some class, have some professionalism in yourself. But I don't know. I don't buy this whole thing. I think Ohtani should face some penalty, and unfortunately he's not.
So the thing with Marcano is that he bet 387 different baseball bets, Max. And if you're going to bet on stuff, at least win. He only won 4.3% of his MLB bets. So
that's right.
He won 16 or 17 out of, 387 different baseball bets? Now, is this, obviously baseball is the game of class, right? Like you were saying, and obviously it's up to the players to be the upstanding members of the sport. But do you think this is as much on the players as it is just on the league? Remember when there was a time when you couldn't even go near Vegas, right? But now there is a hockey team in Vegas. There's a football, NFL team in Vegas. There's going to be a baseball team in Vegas when the A's move. And inside news, there's going to be an NBA team in Las Vegas in the next 5 years. So, is it more on the league or is it on the players?
Well, I mean, I don't think necessarily Vegas has that much to do with it. I think it's the fact that we have this ultimate entity in our pockets at all time that can access us food, water, or anything degenerate at all times. And unfortunately, you know, not all people are going to be good, and it's really easy to do bad things. And I mean, yeah, maybe it should come on the shoulders of the coaches, the staff or whatever, I don't have a perfect answer for you, because people are going to find a way to do bad things if they want to do bad things. And in this sport, gambling is one of them. I mean, in all sports, gambling is one of them. And yeah, I mean, I have a classic saying of, get effed, but that's what happened. Get effed.
Yeah, he kind of got effed. All right. Anyways, now for our number one sports story. Max, did you hear about the famous pickle? He had a really, really big dill. All right. I tried my best. All right. I'm just going to take us into commercial break. Our real number one sports story is coming up on the other side of it. And now we're back here on the sports scene for our second segment. Something we really haven't talked about so far this season, really on iHeartRadio or even on Sports Fluent Media, is the NHL. And obviously, we just got done with two of the most major series in the NHL, the Eastern and the Western Conference Finals. So who better to have on than our resident Sports Fluent Media NHL analyst, Josh Lieberman, joining the sports scene now. Josh, so good to have you with me, brother. Thank you so much for coming on. It's good to see you, and I'm super excited about this to talk some hockey with you.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's great to be here. Appreciate the invite. Glad to be on and talking some puck.
So you obviously talk a lot of puck outside of the sports scene. You have your own show on Sports Fluent called The Leafs Lounge. You are in Toronto currently. Have you wanted to leave based on the Leafs' play after the last few years? What's going on for you here?
Oh, I love it. The hard-hitting question comes first.
I know. I'm sorry. I did not mean to do this to you.
No, it's the only way to begin with a Leaf fan. I have
to.
Yeah, you don't have to apologize for that at all. No, for me, I've always been a diehard Leaf fan, as we talked about before we jumped on here. Born and raised in Toronto. I haven't known any other team in terms of like my hockey rooting interest. So unfortunately, I've been going down with the ship ever since I was born, and I'm willing to keep it going. It's a grind for sure, but still somehow a proud Leaf fan.
Well, I would have to say I was a pretty pathetic Sharks fan up until now this coming year, because we do have the number one draft pick.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit more excited a little bit more excited to be a Sharks fan. They're actually going to draft the son of one of the executives in the Golden State Warriors organization, and I'm also a Golden State Warriors fan. So I like keeping everything is in the Bay Area family. As long as we can keep everything in the Bay Area family, I'm happy. Anyways, but the Sharks,
that's good news.
One of the worst teams in the NHL this year. Anyways,
they had a rough year.
Yeah, but there's a reason we got the number one pick, because we
exactly.
Sucked. Yeah. Okay. Well,
about to turn it around.
Yeah, a couple teams that don't suck are the ones that reached the Stanley Cup final. Now, we're going to get into both teams, how they got there, what they did in their last series. So, do you want to start with the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference first? What is your pick?
Let's go with the East. Let's talk Florida. Okay. Let's talk Florida Rangers. Yeah.
All right. So, the Florida Panthers are in the Stanley Cup final for their second straight season. They earned its return trip to the final with a 2-1 victory against the New York Rangers in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Final on Saturday. The Panthers are the first team to get back to the final after losing it the previous season, since the Pittsburgh Penguins did this in 2009, and just the second since actually the team that they're going to be facing, the Edmonton Oilers, in 1984. So they kind of followed, I think, a different path to the final this season. They were 42, 32, and 8 last season and didn't clinch the second wild card into the Stanley Cup playoffs until the final week of the regular season, before upsetting the Boston Bruins, Toronto Maple Leafs, unfortunately, and the Carolina Hurricanes in the postseason. It was a weird season for this team.
Yeah, it for sure was. And I think with Florida, I think coming off their Stanley Cup final defeat last year, I think there was a lot of talk on if it was kind of somewhat of a fluke in terms of how they got there. Would they be able to get back to it? It felt like they were kind of riding the hot hand, so to speak, with their goalie Bobrovsky last year, who was playing out of his mind all playoffs. I can, as you alluded to, I can speak to that personally. He just was an absolute killer against Toronto in that 5-game series. So I think there was some doubt going into this coming year if Florida would get back, but they pretty much retained their core players. Their GM, Zito, is an absolute hero for some of the moves he's made, like just some of the transactions he's made to bring this core together. He's done an incredible job with, obviously, Matthew Tkachuk is kind of the big name, the big transaction that he made 2 years ago now. But so many other moves that flew under the radar, bringing in guys like Sam Bennett and this year Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Kulikov. A lot of great moves, and they've just been kind of a wagon the entire year, Florida. Pretty much from the start of the season, drop of the puck, all the way through to the end. I think they maybe hit one really short period where they maybe lost 3 or 4 in a row. But other than that, they've been an incredible team, powerhouse team, great defensively. They've got enough talent where they can, kind of go shot for shot in terms of competing on the score sheet offensively. So they're a very impressive team.
Yeah, and so kind of juxtaposing them to that last season, Florida was 52, 24, and 6 to finish first in the Atlantic Division this season, and then was the favorite in knocking off the Tampa Bay Lightning in Boston in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs before eliminating New York, which won the President's Trophy as the top team in the NHL during the regular season. Now, I think one of the turning points in the conference final, right? So the Rangers win games 2 and 3 in overtime to take a 2-1 lead in that conference final, right? The teams went to overtime again in game 4. Florida is staring down a potential 3-1 series deficit, and they pulled it out to a 3-2 victory on Sam Reinhart's power play goal at 1:12. And then Alexander Barkov drew a hooking penalty on Blake Wheeler at 59 seconds, and the Panthers needed only 13 seconds to convert with a pinpoint passing play that ended with Barkov setting up Reinhart for a one-timer from the slot that went in over Shirtskin's catching glove. So instead of facing elimination in Game 5 in New York, Florida is now tied 2-2 in the series and won the next 2 games to advance. So they kind of regained that home ice advantage, right, by winning that game.
For sure. And it was kind of if you look back on it, Florida was, I'd say, the dominant team in that series. If you look at statistically, they badly outshot the Rangers from a special teams point of view. Their special teams was superior to New York. Igor Shesterkin had an amazing series. He definitely kept New York in a couple of those games. And as you said, the Rangers won both of their games in overtime. Florida could have easily probably won this one in 5, maybe even 4 games. They just felt in pretty much every game that they were the better side. And it looked, as you said, when they were down 2-1, it was okay, are the Rangers just going to be a team of destiny? They're going to just find a way to win, even though they might not be the deserving side in a couple of these games. But things kind of did shake out the way you would expect based on how the analytics were. Florida was dominating the shots on goal, and a lot of the kind of play, possession time, offensive zone time was all favoring Florida, the special teams. So it was nice to see at least that Florida did win the series in the end, because they definitely looked like the more deserving team.
Florida's MVP for me so far this season, you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's Barkov, right? The Panthers captain. He's done it all with 17 points, 6 goals, 11 assists in 17 games, playing all situations, and he's often being matched against the opponent's top lines.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's kind of something that maybe doesn't get stated enough. I mean, Barkov, for NHL fans, I think for the last, at least 5 years, you keep hearing Barkov is the most underrated player in the NHL.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to the point where it's but we're always talking about him now. So is he still really underrated? Or is that just kind of the tag or the characterization that's always going to follow the guy? And it feels like maybe he doesn't get his flowers the same way like a Matthew Tkachuk, or especially with Sam Reinhart scoring over 50 goals this year. Even though Barkov's the captain, he's kind of a little bit of the forgotten guy there. But he's been an absolute warrior, 200-foot player. I mean, he kind of has been responsible for shutting down all the best players on their the teams they played, from Panarin, Pasternak in the first round, shut down Kucherov. I think those three guys had, one 5-on-5 goal while they were on the ice against Barkov. That's like insane. He's unreal.
I also think Barkov is super he was, I guess, underestimated very much defensively, right? He's brilliant defensively, so much so that he was announced as the winner of the is it called the Selke Trophy?
Selke Trophy.
Yep.
Best
he
defensive
was voted
forward
as the top defensive forward in the NHL for the second time in his career.
Yep.
And I don't think that's talked about enough, right?
No, it's not. Because it's not the flashy, sexy award. It's not the Hart Trophy for MVP. It's not the Rocket Richard Trophy for most goals. So the Selke is like, okay, yeah, it's nice to get that recognition, but it's not really synonymous with, okay, whoever is the guy who gets it, we're going to talk about him as being one of the game's best players. It's always that unheralded guy, who gets that trophy.
Okay, are you ready to move on to the Western Conference?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, here we go. So the Edmonton Oilers are in the Stanley Cup final for their 8th time in franchise history, and the first since 2006. They booked their trip with a 2-1 victory against the Dallas Stars in Game 6 of the Western Conference Final on Sunday, winning the best-of-7 series 4-2. That one was a little bit crazy because Edmonton got off to a 2-9-1 start to start off this season, and then they fell into a tie for last place in the NHL standings on November 9th. Talk about some history real quick. Yeah. The Oilers made a coaching change then 3 days later, and it seemed to have kind of just gone up from there. They finished second in the Pacific Division, 49-27-6 was their record, 5 points behind the Vancouver Canucks. And then they eliminated the Los Angeles Kings in 5 games, the Canucks in 7 games in the first 2 rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And then they defeated the Dallas Stars in 6 games in the conference final. This is crazy. This team has had one heck of a season. A lot of people do say that Edmonton doesn't have the same payroll as, a lot of other teams, like the big payroll, flashy payroll that maybe a lot of other teams has, but they just find a way every couple of years to just sneak back in here, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think with Edmonton, I think the thing that kind of stands out to me is everyone has been saying, based on how the Edmonton Oilers team has been built, that you can't win that way in the salary cap era in the new NHL, because they got a lot of top end talent. Best player in the NHL, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, arguably is a top 5, top 10 NHL player, but they've never really been able to build a deep team around those guys because of how much those guys are being paid. And I think a lot of people who follow hockey and kind of look at different sort of templates in terms of how to build a Stanley Cup winner would say the way Edmonton did it is not the way you need to do it. You need to build from the net out. You need to have good goaltending. You got to have a very strong physical blue line. 2 things that the Oilers apparently did not have coming into this season, and going into the playoffs, no one thought those areas were going to be good enough for Edmonton to advance. But they've kind of, through the coaching change that you called out, they really have revamped their game. It's kind of been like a 180 turnaround from what they were in prior years, and then, of course, even at the beginning of this year, where they were built to win games 5-4. And if their goalie allowed one more bad goal, soft goal, they had no chance to compete. Whereas now we've seen throughout this whole playoffs, they've won games 1-0, 2-1 when they eliminated Dallas the other night. And that has been very different from how Edmonton has previously been doing it. But credit to the new coach, Knobloch. He's got them playing a very disciplined game. They've always had a great power play. They have the best power play of all playoff teams. But they also have the best penalty kill unit. And Dallas didn't get a single power play goal against them all series. So it's a very different Oilers team that I think a lot of people... now I think as they are obviously going to be playing in the finals beginning Saturday, I think they're finally getting their due credit. But I think everyone up until even the conference finals was like, it's still Edmonton Oilers. They're going to find a way to blow it because their defense or goalie's not good enough. But here we are, right?
I think something that people don't really talk about enough with this new coach is that he's kind of willing to do anything, right? We talked about the turning point in the Panthers series, the turning point in this one. So the Oilers goalie, Stuart Skinner, was pulled after 2 periods of a 4-3 loss to the Canucks in Game 3 of the second round and didn't play in Games 4 or 5. He was replaced by Calvin Pickard. And then Skinner returned for Game 6 with the Oilers facing elimination and made 14 saves in a 5-1 win to force Game 7. And then Skinner made 15 saves in Game 7, helping hold off the Canucks late in the third period after Vancouver scored twice to cut a 3-goal deficit to 3-2. So despite all those tense moments, the Oilers were able to hang on for the win and advanced to the conference final for the second time in 3 seasons, and they haven't looked back.
No, 100%. And it's kind of just been like with Knobloch, the changes he's made. I mean, I think there were multiple games now. I mean, you talked about the goalie change that he made, which, yeah, that took a lot of confidence in terms of trusting his judgment over, you know, benching their number one goalie, who they've been basically riding the entire year, his willingness to do that. It was obviously the right button to press at that time. And then he went back to him, and that seemed to work because Skinner gained confidence and hasn't really looked back since. But he's also taken, like, veteran players like Corey Perry out of the lineup. He had Corey Perry a healthy scratch for 5 games, which I don't think too many coaches, especially a first-year coach, would have the kind of nerve, confidence to do. So he's done a remarkable job. And again, you know, I said, we're not talking enough about this team. We're also not talking enough about their coach. And I think hockey fans often say, okay, well, the coach can only do so much. You know, if the team isn't good enough, talented enough, they're not going to win. In this case, I think the coach deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, he's carrying around some watermelons for some of the some of the calls he made in this series. Let's talk about real quick the MVP of this team so far. It has to be Connor McDavid, right? He has put the team on his back when they needed it the most, and he literally willed them to victory. He leads the NHL this postseason with 31 points, 5 goals, 26 assists in 18 games, and he scored that highlight reel goal in Game 6 against the Stars.
Whew. That was a beauty. Beauty. Yeah, you have to go with Connor McDavid. I mean, they've had a lot of good performances. Leon Draisaitl is second in playoff scoring, so he's right behind McDavid. On the blue line, Evan Bouchard has been amazing for them, really kind of quarterbacking their power play. But absolutely, I mean, MVP right now is Connor McDavid, no doubt.
Yeah, it has to be. Okay, Josh, hang with me. Don't go anywhere. We got to take a commercial break. But when we come back, we're talking about the Stanley Cup Final, and Josh is giving us our sports scene prediction on who is going to win the Stanley Cup Final. Hey, yo, we're back here on the sports scene. We're joined by Josh Lieberman to talk some of the Stanley Cup Final. Now, Josh, it is the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers who are going to be facing off in a best-of-7 series. It starts on Saturday at Amerant Bank Arena. And let's get into some of what we kind of see going on here. We talked about Connor McDavid, right? He's been a man on a mission. The Florida Panthers have been a team on a mission. Their paths will collide when McDavid and the Oilers take on the Panthers, like I said in Game 1. McDavid will play in his first final after 9 seasons in the NHL. Together with Leon Draisaitl, McDavid has been driving Edmonton in its run to its first final since 2006 and quest to win the Stanley Cup for the first time since 1990. What the heck? McDavid, the Oilers captain and 3-time winner of the Hart Trophy as the NHL's most valuable player, leads the Stanley Cup playoffs, like I said, with 31 points, 5 goals, 26 assists in 18 games. And he's been doing it all for this team. What do you think about the Edmonton Oilers coming into this Stanley Cup final? And actually, they were down a couple years ago, unfortunately, in the final, so they've really been trying to hunt this one down.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of fans are probably making this into a easy win for Florida, and I'll kind of hit you with my prediction shortly, but I think a lot of those same fans probably had Edmonton bowing out to Dallas in the conference finals. So I think there's still a lot of that. People are late to kind of give credit to what Edmonton is capable of doing. I think they're going to put up a great fight. I think where they're going to have to get the advantage over Florida is on the power play. That's kind of what has always been throughout the season. That's always been their bread and butter. So Florida, during the season, they were the most penalized team in the NHL. So that, in theory, should mean that Edmonton will get some power play opportunities, and a power play that's kind of hitting at almost 40% in the playoffs. That would probably be their best chance to have, an opportunity to at least take a couple games, maybe even win the series against Florida. But Florida has shown to be a little bit more disciplined in the playoffs, so maybe they won't have that same kind of ability to, tilt the ice through the power play. But that's, I think, where Edmonton has to win the game. I think if it's going to be mostly 5-on-5, I think Florida is the better team, the deeper team, better blue line. They should have the better goalie based on kind of what we've seen from both guys over the course of the year. So for me, my lean right now is Florida.
Interesting. Yeah, the Florida Panthers, they're led by their captain, Alexander Barkov. And they've really been determined to get back to the final and win their first championship since losing to the Vegas Golden Knights in 5 games in the final last season. Very rare that you see the same team go back-to-back to the final in 2 straight years. But Florida defeated the New York Rangers 2-1 in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Final on Saturday to become the first Stanley Cup runner-up to return to the final the following season since the Pittsburgh Penguins did it in 2009, and second to do it since the Oilers in 1984. And so each of these teams won the Cup in its return to the final. Now, Josh, kind of want to get into some of the game breakers in these games that, where I have one really for each team. My game breaker for the Panthers, I'm going to expect Matthew Tkachuk to be fired up to face Edmonton, a familiar rival from his 6 seasons with the Flames before he was traded to Florida in 2022. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I think he's going to have a huge series. He's been kind of, at least on the score sheet, been leading the way for the team. He's first in scoring. I believe he has 1 more point than Barkov. So the 2 of those guys have been kind of the offensive catalyst for the team. And Matthew Tkachuk is like your prototypical playoff performer. If you could kind of think about if you're building a hockey team, what would I want in a playoff player in my lineup? It's pretty much Matthew Tkachuk. He's physical. He's good with the puck. He goes to the net. He's an agitator. He gets in your face. If you're the opposition goalie, you're going to be seeing Tkachuk's rear end pretty much the entire game. He's that kind of guy that's going to kind of muck it up. He's going to be in the corners. He's willing to drop the mitts if he has to. He's going to do everything he can to help his team win. So, he should be kind of the odds-on favorite to be the MVP for this team, and I think he's going to have a great series.
Tkachuk has 26 points, 10 goals, and 16 assists in 32 career regular season games against the Oilers, including 23, 9 goals, and 14 assists in 28 games with the Flames. So, he does see this team well. So, now, my game breaker for the Oilers, Draisaitl, who is second in the playoffs with 28 points, 10 goals, and 18 assists in 18 games. He qualifies for this as well, but McDavid is proving again to be one of the most prolific scorers in NHL history. The 27-year-old is the 6th player to have multiple playoff years with at least 30 points, joining guys with a long list of guys, not too long, but with Wayne Gretzky doing it 6 times. And, it's just kind of crazy to see that Connor McDavid's now putting himself in this mix. So my game breaker is obviously Draisaitl and McDavid. Is that kind of what you're thinking for them?
Yeah, I do like the Draisaitl pick because we talked about it in the previous segment. If Barkov Mr. Defensive Forward, 200-foot player, shutdown forward is going to be kind of glued to McDavid pretty much every shift. Like, I don't think you can ever completely prevent McDavid from doing what he does. He's going to find a way. But I think it's fair to expect that McDavid will be somewhat neutralized in maybe a couple games. And maybe that frees up Draisaitl, who should be playing on a different line than McDavid in this series. So that should give him a little bit more opportunity. Maybe a little bit more freedom. And he might get some more scoring opportunities than McDavid will, matched up against Barkov. But, I mean, everything with this Edmonton team, it's going to go wherever McDavid is able to take them. He's kind of the driver. He's the engine. But I think it's a good kind of selection with Draisaitl being the potential top dog for Edmonton.
Okay, let's talk about the goaltending in this series, because the Panthers have Sergei Bobrovsky, who has allowed 2 goals or fewer in 13 of 17 playoff games, including 5 of the 6 in the Eastern Conference Final. And Stuart Skinner for the Oilers is 11-5 with a 2.5 GAA, an .897 save percentage, and 1 shutout in 16 playoff games. All starts, but was at his best in the Western Conference Final, going 4-2 with a 191 GAA and 922 save percentage, including stopping 33 of 34 shots in Game 6. This goaltending is going to be on another level in the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think heading into the conference final, I don't think people were as confident with Edmonton's goaltending. But the series that Skinner had against Dallas, I think, kind of proved that he is capable. I think there's still going to be most folks giving the edge in net to Florida. Bobrovsky obviously is more of a proven performer. He obviously helped take Florida to the Cup final last year. So I give the edge to Bobrovsky just by having kind of that experience and kind of having been there before. It's definitely different being in your first Cup final. So I think there could be a little bit of a learning there for Skinner. And you know, he's shown in the past, even in this playoffs, if he gives up a couple soft goals, will he get a little bit rattled? And will we see maybe, some other maybe soft goals go in on him? So we'll have to see. But the goalie we saw against Dallas, I think, gives you confidence if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan that the goaltending matchup might not be as clear-cut in terms of who has the advantage. So I'm curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah, so Florida wore down New York with its forecheck and grinding physical game, and we'll have to do the same to slow down Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup. Barkov, who, like I said, is the Selke Trophy winner as the NHL's top defensive forward this season, and defenseman Gustav Forsling will no longer be underrated if they can contain David and Draisaitl the way they have other top offensive players. The Panthers were able to win the special teams battle against the Rangers team that was dominant on the power play and penalty kill in the first 2 rounds, and will need at least to keep it close to even against the Oilers. So limiting trips to the penalty box would be a good first step. But my question for you is, or my statement for you is, finish this sentence for me. The Florida Panthers will win if
they limit how many power play opportunities they give to Edmonton. I think that's the key, and it might not even be a hot take, but I think Edmonton is just so incredibly prolific on the power play. If you told me right now that Edmonton won't get more than 2 power play opportunities in even half of the games, I don't see them being able to compete with Florida. I mean, I think the 5-on-5 edge goes to Florida for me when they're not playing, when no one's playing a man short. So if Florida can limit power play opportunities, I think that will give them the edge.
The Oilers, everything begins with McDavid and Draisaitl and the special teams, but Edmonton's defense is going to be tested like it has not been previously by Florida's incessant forecheck and physicality. So if the Oilers can break the puck out of their zone quickly and cleanly and limit the time they spend defending, that's going to give their skilled players more time and energy to go to work at the offensive end. So Edmonton probably doesn't get enough credit for how well it defended in the playoffs, and is going to continue to do so or need to do so in this series. And Skinner must be at least the level he was in the conference final, if not elevate himself a little bit more. And particularly the last 3 games when he only allowed 4 total goals. Otherwise, the Panthers have the offensive skill to take the advantage. Now finish this sentence for me. The Oilers will win if.
The Oilers will win if Stuart Skinner is the better goalie. If he's the better goalie in more than half of the games, I think they're going to win. I think Edmonton, as long as they can if they can keep their penalty kill as efficient as it's been for most of the playoffs, especially in the conference final, I think that's going to give them an advantage. But I think it's going to be a lot of tight checking, close games, the way these teams played in the conference final. Aside from maybe a couple games in each of those series, these games are going to be won 3-2, 2-1. And I think what it's going to come down to is which goalie allows that one not-so-great goal to put the other team in an advantageous position. So if you tell me right now Stuart Skinner is going to be the best goalie on the ice, I think Edmonton wins the game because I think their top-end talent is better than Florida. Talking obviously McDavid, Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, Evan Bouchard. So I think that they're going to find a way to get pucks by Bobrovsky, but they just need Stuart Skinner to be the better goalie in most of the games, if not all.
Josh, it is time. Who wins and in how many games?
We get to games too.
Yeah,
okay, so for
give me all the games.
Yeah, you got it. So
okay.
I'm going Florida. I think,
Florida.
Just based on looking at the series and kind of capping it from a perspective of understanding what both teams do well and maybe where both teams are, maybe lacking. I think Florida just is the better team top to bottom. I said Edmonton needs to have the better goaltending to win, but going into this cup final, I suspect Bobrovsky will be the better goalie, and I just think Florida is a deeper team. I think they play a more physical game, and as long as it's not a parade to the penalty box and letting Edmonton light up the scoreboard on the power play, I think Florida is going to be the Stanley Cup winner, and I am taking them in 6 games.
In 6 games. So the Florida Panthers in 6 games. I'm located in Florida, right? I'm in Orlando.
Oh,
where
you
we have
are?
the
Okay.
ECHL team, the Orlando Solar Bears.
Right.
Those games
Hockey
are a lot of fun,
hotbed
too.
now.
Yeah.
Florida's becoming a hockey hotbed now.
We're a hockey state, baby. You know it. Okay, final question for you, Josh. Obviously, the Leaf season is over. Are you guys still doing the Leafs Lounge on Sports Fluent Media? Where can I find you?
Yeah, so we still do, we've cut back. We used to do like 2 episodes every week. Obviously, with the Leafs no longer playing hockey, there's not as much content. So we've kind of scaled back. We're doing a show every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we just kind of talk about different off-season predictions, what kind of news is circulating in Toronto, even when they're not playing, when they're out of the playoff picture. There's always some kind of talk about a player maybe getting traded or bringing in a new coach. So there's always things to talk about. So we still do that show once a week just to talk everything Leafs, but we also cover all NHL topics as well.
And, I wouldn't feel too bad about the Leafs not playing hockey anymore because clearly only 2 teams are still now playing hockey in this season.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so we're all losers except for
only one team can win. And if you ain't first, you're last, right?
Thank you. Right? That is. You might be my favorite Canadian ever. Hey, Josh, thank you so much for joining the show. Let's catch up again in a few weeks once the Stanley Cup final, everything is unfolded, and let's dissect everything we saw. Sound good?
Yeah, you got it, man. This was really fun. Thank you for having me on.
No worries, and we're looking forward to having you on again soon. That's Josh Lieberman, our Sports Fluent Media NHL analyst. One more segment coming up on the sports scene. Yeah, buddy, we're back here on the sports scene for our final segment. Well, we're going to do something Max, Alvin, and I have never done before, which is fun. I'm very excited for this, and if you are listening to this on iHeartRadio, I'm sorry. You're going to have to go over to YouTube right now. Find us on Sports Fluent's YouTube channel. Go to the Sports Scene with Jesse O. Click on this week's episode because the audio portion
of this show is actually going to end now. And if you've been hanging out with us for longer than this and you're on YouTube, thanks for joining us. We're actually going to play a new game, and we are going to make Max and Alvin build some starting rotations in their different sports. So, Max, you're going to build your dream team based on this graphic with $15. These are pitchers.
I'm the best at this game.
From the last 5 or 25 years. You got $15. Can you see those names on the bottom, by the way? Like Roy Oswald,
Yes.
Webb. Okay, Dickey, PV, and you, Darvish. Okay, so Max and Alvin, we're going to go between their two sports. We're going to finish up with football as usual, make them go against each other. But Max, give me what you would make of your dream rotation with $15 from the past 25 years. All of these pitchers are on the board. What you got for me?
So Randy Johnson's first one, I'm sniping for sure.
Oh, for the $5, you're going Randy
$5.
Johnson?
He would win every single game pitching if he was around right now. So
Okay.
I'll get him.
Okay.
And then
Because you also know you don't have to take a person from each level, right? Like you could take like a couple people.
I
from
told
each
you
level.
I'm the best at this game.
I don't
the
know.
best.
Sometimes you're a little dumb, so I gotta spell it out. Here we go.
Listen, I can read. So
Okay,
Randy
good.
Johnson for sure, getting him.
Yeah.
The next pitcher I would want to get here, this is gonna be a little tough. But I'll go Zach Greinke. I think he's strong enough.
Zach Greinke.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He'll probably be a Hall of Famer, so I'll take him.
Okay.
So I got $7 left, and I need to get 3 more pitchers.
Yep.
Okay, $7 left.
Or
Then
you can
I'm
have the
gonna,
best 6-man rotation ever too, if you wanted.
then I'm gonna get R.A. Dickey. I'm gonna
The
pull up him.
knuckleballer.
Yeah, I'll get him. He'll be a good 5 pitcher. He'll be good.
Okay.
He won Cy Young one year. So I have $6 left
Yeah.
to get 2 more pitchers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. $6 left. 2 more. Dang. Who do I want? This is a tough one. Then I'm gonna go with. Oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna go with Adam Wainwright because he eats innings, so I think he'll be good.
Really?
Yeah. He
Okay.
gets he probably had like the most 200 inning starts in a row. I think he had like 9 or 10 years in a row of 200 innings. So I'll take him.
Yeah.
And so I have $4 left,
Yep.
and yeah, I'm gonna go with him. I'm gonna go with Roy Halladay as my number 2 pitcher.
Oh, Doc.
Yep.
That's fair. I was gonna say, it depends on if you're in the postseason or not. Like, I was gonna say Madison Bumgarner, but now that I'm saying postseason, Roy Halladay, did he throw a perfect game in the postseason?
It might have been a
no-hitter?
no-hitter. He was like the first pitcher ever to throw a perfect game and a no-hitter in the same season, and one of those being in the postseason. Yeah.
Yeah, he threw the no-hitter in the postseason. Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, so your starting rotation, 5-man rotation, is Randy Johnson's your number 1 pitcher. Big southpaw lefty throwing 100 miles an hour. That's a good way to start out. Then you come with the crafty righty, Roy Halladay. He's your 2. Then Zach Greinke, who's kind of all over the place, psychopath, fits kind of what you want with your team. He's your 3rd pitcher in your rotation. Adam Wainwright's your 4th pitcher. Like you said, he eats innings. The R.A. Dickey pick, I don't get, honestly, because he won the Cy Young, but then wasn't he out of the league in the next 2 years after that?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he just was out of it.
Yes.
So it's just like you're taking a chance on the knuckleballer to just.
I mean,
throw
if
everyone
we're
off.
taking all their prime-esque years, right?
Yeah.
Mate won 20 games with 1 pitch. Like that's pretty.
That is
nasty.
true. That is true. Okay, Max, I did like that. That's a good dream rotation. All right, Alvin, next one is for you. You are going to build our starting 5 using $15 in the NBA.
All right, I also want to do this next.
You want to do this?
Okay.
You can absolutely do this, Max, if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Alvin.
obviously going Jokic, give me that dude.
Okay.
So 5 down, 10 more. Let's go. Kyrie's $1? Oh yeah, give me Kyrie.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, man, if you don't take that guy.
I like just look like, all right, I did not think.
About to go to the NBA Finals.
4, I got a combo. Let me get. I need a 3. Where's Jimmy at? Jimmy. Oh. I got Braun in there too. Yeah, let me get Braun.
All right, you have $10. You have $5
Yeah.
left.
I know I gotta get
players.
cheap here. All right, I got a 5.
You can also take 2
I got a
lower level
4.
players and get a 6th man.
But also, listen, you got it. Like, does this fit the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5?
Yeah, that's exactly what I got. A 5.
Okay.
I got combo at 4. Got a combo guard at Kyrie.
Well, you have to choose. Like,
No, I'm saying, like, I
what
gotta
is
see who
Kyrie
else
playing? What is
who else I
LeBron
like.
playing? Okay.
Depends
Yeah,
on
what
what
are they
guards
playing?
I'm gonna get.
No.
Jokic, okay, Joker is at the 5.
Well, yeah,
LeBron.
okay. That's a duh. Okay.
Yeah, that's a duh. And then, did I already say Jimmy?
Kind
Well,
of.
you said Jimmy, but then you kind of took it
Okay,
back
and
because then you
y'all
were
cool with
enamored
that?
by LeBron.
All right, bet. Okay, give me Brown.
Jaylen Brown. Okay. So you're not taking Jimmy. Jaylen Brown.
I'm gonna take Brown. I can't just do the same thing I always do. I gotta mix it up a little bit. And then I got Mitchell at the 1. So I got Mitchell. I got Kyrie at the 2. I got Brown at the 3. I got Braun at the 4. I got Jokic at the 5. How much money do I have left?
$1.
Oh, okay. Let's get Zion and pray.
Actually, $2. You have $2 left.
Oh, $2. Definitely not getting Gobert.
you got $2 left.
Yeah, let's go Zion and Ingram. So I got everyone on the bottom row except for Bradley Beal. That's tough.
That's
okay.
tough. So you have multiple players. Is it more than
Yeah.
5?
Yeah, so you got Zion, you got Mitchell, and you got Brandon Ingram, right?
Yeah, I got Ingram.
Okay.
I'm about to build the dirtiest team of all time right here.
All right, build the
Okay,
dirtiest
Max.
team.
Let's see. So Alvin got Jokic at the 5, LeBron at the whatever.
Whatever he wants.
Yeah, Kyrie's probably at the 1, Jaylen Brown's 2, then mix and match Zion, Mitchell, and Brandon Ingram. Pretty good team. Unless Max is starting 5, just absolutely clobbers.
My team's going to be
You're
wet.
starting 5, and then
All right,
okay, yeah,
let me
Max.
hear it.
What are you thinking?
All right, I'm going to have Kyrie at the 1.
Kyrie's at the 1, okay.
I'm going to have AD at the 4.
Okay.
I'm going to have Devin Booker at the 2.
Okay.
I'm going to have LeBron at the 3. And then Jokic
Okay.
at the 5.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That's
Okay,
actually, yeah.
I feel like the team
That's
chemistry there is insane, bro.
That's
That's
actually
insane. Holy
You did
shit.
say that you were really good at this game, bro. That
Wow.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
So Alvin's starting 5 was
yeah,
absolutely like objectively terrible compared to that. So Alvin's starting 5 was a combination of Jokic, Kyrie, LeBron, Jaylen Brown, and either Mitchell,
Yeah, bro.
Zion, or Brandon Ingram. Max has Kyrie, Devin Booker, LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Jokic.
My team would be wild.
I think. Okay. Wow.
That team would be
Yeah.
crazy.
That would go 82.
Okay, Max. Yeah, that team goes 82-0 and then 16-0, perfect in the
Yep.
playoffs. Good job, Max. Okay, Max, this one's back for you again. We are going to. We're actually going to create a player this time.
Okay.
From all these guys. So you get a person's hitting, so I'm assuming batting average. You get their power, their speed, how good they are at fielding, and how hard they throw their arm.
Okay. Sweet. Okay. And I get $15.
You get 15
Sweet.
bucks again.
Okay, I'm just gonna make the most wet first baseman of all time right here.
What? First base? Why first base?
Because listen, my man's not gonna be able to throw. So I'm gonna have
Oh, no.
I'm gonna have Trout's hitting.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I'm gonna have Judge's Because you're right. It goes. Well, I mean, I guess Soto's right there, but I'm gonna have Trout's hitting because I mean, dude, when he's healthy, he's the best player. He's still the best player. Trout's hitting.
True.
Judge's power.
Okay, that's $10 down already. But he's the best hitter of all time. Okay.
Best hitter of all time.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna have
Snail.
yeah. No. I'm gonna have Acuna's speed.
Okay, so you have $2 left. What?
And I have Lorenzo Cain fielding and Carlos Correa arm.
Okay, so they're objectively just horrible at playing the field.
Yeah.
So any ground ball to first base is an error.
Yeah, probably.
And then if a runner goes home, like it's like a first and third or something, and the runner, like they check the runner at third, they throw over to first, the runner runs home. You're not ever throwing the guy out at home.
But my mate's going like 70 and 70, like with home runs and stolen bases.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Trey Turner and Byron Buxton are really fast. Like Acuna's not. I mean, I guess he did steal a lot of bags last year.
Yeah. He was the first. What was it? 40-40 or 50-50? Whatever
40,
it was.
Yeah.
But he had like 80 stolen bases.
That's crazy. Okay,
Or
so
60.
you value just all offensive everything. If
What
the
they
guy
say.
gets on base, he's scoring, and if he is at the play, well, he's not gonna need to score because when he's at the play, he's just gonna.
Well, the good thing is like Lorenzo Cain, he can catch a ball, right? He wouldn't be in the league if he couldn't catch a ball.
He can catch a ball, yes.
Yeah. So he can catch a ball. He's not gonna be great.
Yeah, he's a center fielder. You're putting him at first base.
Yep.
Okay. That's like the only one that I don't think translates, but okay. We'll take that. That team, or that player, probably hits like... He has the Barry Bonds season where he's going to get walked a lot because no one's going to want to pitch to him.
That's true.
He'll have an on-base percentage of 800 in a season, and he'll probably hit like 500. He will get a hit every other at-bat, pretty much, or home run. Okay. And his fielding's going to be horrible, but he's like, they're hiding him over at first base because he has to play. Okay. I like that. All right. Alvin. Actually, and we'll let Max do this next one. You guys now are going to run it up with the NFL. So, whatever you value, you can get 2 running backs. You can have 2 quarterbacks on your staff if you want. If you're Max, like that's probably what he would do somehow. But you can get 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. Doesn't matter. $15 is on
Alvin,
the board.
you go first.
Alvin, we'll let you go first. What you got?
I'm taking Pat Mahomes, obviously.
Your favorite player of all time?
Let me get. Ooh.
I mean, that's always a good start.
I'm going running back. Let's do CMC.
Nice.
I figured you liked that one.
Yeah. Just extended him for 2 more years after his contract completes in 2 years. And we lowered our salary cap too. You know the 49ers have the 7th most cap space of any team in the NFL?
I did not know that.
Here comes the Ayuk deal.
You
heard it here
hope,
first.
you better hope. Let me get Tyreek.
Everyone forgets he's under contract still for this year. Like, he will be playing for the 49ers this year. Regardless of what all talking heads have said, like, he literally is under contract still. He just wants the extension. So anyways, you got Mahomes and CMC. It's a good 1-2 punch.
Tyreek.
Great backfield.
And I think I'm going to do Keenan Allen. I like that.
So Tyreek and Keenan Allen.
Yeah, Tyreek, Keenan, and then what am I? I'm at $12. Let me Mark Andrews. I could get Derrick Henry. Yeah, let me get Derrick Henry.
Wait, what?
So I got 2. I got
Wait.
Patrick Mahomes, CMC, Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Mark Andrews.
With $15?
Yeah, mate, you're cooked, bro.
What?
Oh.
Yeah, this isn't Bidenomics, bro.
Yeah, what? I'm like, Wait, you only get 50. It says total $15.
Yeah, dude, he was trying to spend 30,
I was
bro.
like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
Alvin is just like, hey, give me everyone on there.
I've already spent 20. Let me just casually. Oh yeah, I got enough for Derrick Henry.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got Mahomes, CMC, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill. Who?
So that you have $2 left. Who do you want for
$2
tight end?
left.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get.
Or if you don't want a tight end.
Yeah. Let me get Mark Andrews for $1.
Okay.
And then. Oh, that's why I'm goofy. I thought. Yeah. All right. Aaron Jones, Rojo as my other back for $1.
Okay. That one adds up. That math.
Yeah,
adds up.
bro, you guys made it seem 30 over. It's just Derrick Henry that quick. I thought he was the number one. I thought he was $1.
All right, so here's what I'm doing.
All right, Max.
I'm going Mark Andrews for $1.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill as my wide receivers.
Jamar Chase and Tyreek Hill. Okay,
Yep.
for $3.
And then I'm gonna get Saquon Barkley for my running back.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go Patrick Mahomes, QB.
Saquon is your running back. And then Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback. Okay, 5, 3, 8. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Max's team, his quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. His running back is Saquon Barkley. His 2 wide receivers are Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase. And his tight end is Mark Andrews. So Alvin has Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback, CMC as his running back. Aaron Jones is, I guess, a halfback. Will play half the time. And then his wide receivers are Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen, and his tight end is Mark Andrews. Those are pretty
It's close. It's close.
Yeah.
It's
Those
close.
are pretty close.
Yeah. You can go either way.
It means we have to go into a tiebreaker. So let's see how these guys actually do. Because we're going to build an all-time lineup for $15.
I think CMC might take him over, but it's close. It's close.
All right, Max.
I do love the CMC, yep.
Lead us off, Max.
All right,
Max,
I'll
you're
go
starting
first.
with this one, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so all right, I get it now.
Yeah.
Oof. All right. Well, I'm gonna go. All right. If Dan Marino is only a frickin' $1, then I'm definitely getting that.
Yeah.
If he's literally just $1, he might be. He could. If he won a Super Bowl, he could be considered the best on this
He
graphic.
would be better than Drew Brees. He'd be better than Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Not
So
Joe Montana.
I'll. Yeah, not Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Close though. But yeah, I'll go Dan Marino for $1.
Okay.
And then, I mean, dude, same thing. I mean, how is LT only a?
Danny Tomlinson?
Yeah. How is he only $1, bro? But no. Give me a second. I haven't confirmed that pick in. I'm just saying, like, how is he only $1? This is
That's
tough.
that running back list is insane. Barry Sanders, Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith, and LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, it's close. But I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Dan Marino, LT. I'm gonna confirm that. I'm gonna go Randy Moss. So that's $6.
Okay.
Megatron. So that's $10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna go Gronk. Inside of $14, and I'm gonna get D Hop just to throw him in there
That's
too.
nuts. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like if that was like a Madden Ultimate team, that team would be absurd.
You just wanted.
Like you don't understand. I would just be hucking up to everyone, bro. Like Randy Moss and Calvin
everyone
Johnson.
go deep.
Yeah, and
Everyone
Dan Marino,
go
bro.
deep, and then like D Hop's your little like out route. You know, like
Yeah.
both of those guys are somehow covered by the 2 greatest cornerbacks of all time. All right, D Hop on the underneath throw. Alvin, what you got? Max's team is
I'm gonna
deep,
go
though.
Dan. There's no way I'm not going Marino. Like, come on.
Okay.
So $1. Give me LT because that's wild. That the Stiffy machine is $1. So give me him. $2, I have to go 7. I got to get Jerry, bro. Like, every receiver, you watch Jerry's tape. Like, that's just how it goes. So, got to give homage to him. So, I got 7. Let me go. I guess I got to go Julio.
I love how Antonio Brown is on this, too.
He's on that. He's on there.
No, he's good, though.
He had a
but like
really
Steelers
good, like,
Antonio Brown, not getting naked and
listen,
go jumping
when he
in
was
pools.
kicking
Antonio
players
Brown.
in the face, he was like that. So, but I'm still gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Oh man, Terrell owns is $3 too. So actually, I gotta go. Oh, I can't go in the same row, can I? Or can I? Okay.
Well, unless you already you can if you have extra money.
Through? Okay.
Yeah. Once you go.
All right. Let me go. Dang. Let me go Julio then. Julio
Jones.
Is that 10?
So you
You're
have $5
$10.
left. Yeah.
Give me Shannon, my dog. Give me Mr. Sharp, please.
Yeah, you love Shannon.
And now I can actually double back.
You can get Owens
and get TL. God, dog.
Goodness. Two legendary. Look at you picking the 49ers, Alvin.
Bro, listen. With Dan Marino throwing the pill, I like your odds.
Okay.
That would be interesting. You know what we need to do? We need to play this in like Madden Ultimate Team.
Like simulated as a Madden Ultimate Team. Okay.
No. Like I'll play.
Your defense.
I'm good at this. I'm good at this game. I'm good at Madden.
Defense,
who would be my defense, dude? It doesn't matter, bro. I control the middle linebacker on defense, so you can't give me anyone with speed.
2000s Ravens.
All right, fine. No. We get the same defense. The same defense.
I like that.
And then our offenses just play against each other.
Maybe 2012.
So, okay, you both took Dan Marino.
Ed Reeves, I don't care. I don't care about anyone else.
So you both took Dan Marino as your quarterback and LaDainian Tomlinson as your running back.
No brainer.
And then, here's where things just got so interesting. Alvin's 3 wide receivers, Jerry Rice, Julio Jones, and Terrell Owens. That's awesome. But Max's wide receivers, Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, Megatron, and DeAndre Hopkins. So by money-wise, point totals, those actually cancel each other out. Alvin got Shannon Sharp, who's a 3-time champion. Max got Rob Gronkowski, who's what? How many championships has Rob Gronkowski won?
With Brady.
More than me.
I'm looking this up right now.
Yo.
Rob Gronkowski, in fact, has 4 championships. So that one was close.
That one's just close. But my wide receivers are nasty.
I mean, Jerry Rice,
yours are also
Jones,
nasty.
And Terrell Owens, are you freaking kidding me?
Mine are video game nasty. Like, in video games, those are the best 2 you want.
No, for sure. Like, okay, you got Randy Moss, no one's running with him, and he's 6'4". Megatron's 6'5". So, like, if you don't have Jalen Ramsey and you just pray Sauce can, continue to progress how he's progressing, no one's doing nothing with him. And then Jerry's a route machine. Terrell Owens, like, there's Julio Jones is 230 running a 4.4. Like, nah, DBs are getting cooked.
I'm surprised no one took Jason Witten as their tight end.
We love Jay White, but no.
No.
Not over Shannon, Gronk. You got Antonio Gates, and we know when you even mention Tony because, he's also a dog. Yeah,
he's also a dog.
Yeah, Tony Gonzalez. Cal guy. Go Bears.
Yeah,
went to UC Berkeley. Yep. Really?
Yep. He almost went to Marina.
Where do you go to middle school since we're at it? In elementary school. Do you know what day?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know children that age like that. I know you do. I know you'd be thinking about that.
Okay, well, time to wrap up the show now.
You said Shannon Sharp, you freak.
Oh, no.
That's what you get for saying Shannon Sharp. Check out CTESPN. Check out CTESPN. Antonio Brown. He'd be clowning Shannon Sharp every day. Every day.
All right. Well, thank you, Josh. Thank you, Alvin. And Max has officially become a member of CTESPN. And thank you all for tuning into the show today on iHeartRadio Podcast, and YouTube. You want a little more sports madness in your life? Well, tune back in on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Subscribe to us at Sports Fluent on YouTube. And please rate, comment, and download the show everywhere else. And we are going to take the next 2 weeks off. But don't worry, we'll be back with a wrap of the Stanley Cup Final and the NBA Finals when we return, so stay tuned. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you right back here on the Sports Scene with Jesse O, presented by First Bet and Sports Fluent Media.